might be adequate versus inadequate security by this piece of a civil trial, and get people thinking about these issues from a different angle.
So we did a pre-show, which is very interesting.
Yeah.
Covered a lot of ground. This definition of what is inadequate security, it still perplexes me.
Sure.
So who decides that? A consultant that says, I'm an expert and you need this. The guy that owns the place that says, guess what, I disagree with you, and I don't have the money for it, by the way.
Right.
These standards are a little wobbly.
Very wobbly. And the end decider, of course, is,
The
12,
jury.
12 jurors, right?
Yeah.
But individuals have to be aware of a couple of things. First, the bottom line is the regulatory environment. So if they're a municipality, their state, or the federal government, because of the type of business they're in, requires something, they absolutely have to do that.
That's an easier one. Well, it's an easier one to find out about, not do maybe. But
that's right.
Yeah.
So you got to keep up to date with that. But what your neighbors and fellow practitioners in the environment you do business in are doing is also standard setting. So if you run a restaurant and all of the other restaurants in your area have an AED in
Right.
the restaurant, and you best
You
have
should.
one too.
Yeah.
And that becomes a standard because it's the practice of the
Makes sense.
industry. Sorry.
Yeah. And standards vary by geographical location, I find.
Sure they
That's
do.
very interesting. Culturally, I suppose, is the shift, maybe?
Culture may be less so today because everything's in motion and homogenized, but
Well, that's true.
geography, absolutely. Geography has a big part of it. What might be standard in Iowa may not be standard in New York City.
Well, by culture, I meant the little town in Nevada that has never had anything stolen. So what do we need security for?
Absolutely
And
right.
then they may get a pass on the lawsuit, but not the next time. Because now there's a new standard.
That's right. And that leads to the next point is there's a lot of information about what's happening in your area now. And so you used to be fairly ignorant of what crime activity
That's right.
was in the area, but now it's all available. And you have to be aware of that, reactive to it. That's probably part of the standard.
So, probably, because we are talking about the law.
We are.
So, a little squishy. But to the point, which I think is the right point, who doesn't have a cell phone? Who doesn't have a computer or access to one? Who's not watching TV? The data is so voluminous, you can't say you don't know something, all right, because you could have known it, right? Or at a higher standard, you should have known it.
Should have known it.
Yeah,
Right.
very interesting.
So
Are lawsuits now pretty much that's kind of off the table as far as the defense? That, I didn't know. How do you argue that anymore?
what is kind of off the table is people opining, because there are so many ways to publish an opinion now that you can't be expected to take into account every person's study, every person's opinion.
Oh, okay, that's the opposite side of it, so that's fair.
Yeah. But what's happening in your neighborhood, you probably have an obligation to know.
Now, in the security world, if we're going to put a security director on the stand, we're talking about a corporate environment probably.
Yeah.
And right there we have probably some ISO standards, maybe ASIS standards. That guy is already halfway there.
Sure.
Of having a pretty good program. Right?
Yes.
So when you're in an environment like that, what can go wrong in those sort of environments where it may not be adequate security? Because you already probably have, like at the studio, we were Fort Knox. We can still get sued, right?
Well, anyone can get sued.
Right.
You don't have to have a good case to file a civil suit. You just have to have some lawyer who's willing to do it.
You
for
can convict a cheese sandwich in Los Angeles.
Exactly right. But lots of things can go wrong because things aren't static. And so you establish a program according to the standards that you are aware of at the time, and then a year goes by or 2 years goes by. And so the real thing that is likely to go wrong is a program stays static when the risk environment shifts.
I didn't think about that. Good point.
Yeah.
Good point. How many people will be on the stand in your
Just
scenario?
the one security director.
Oh, that poor
and
guy.
Then he's a great guy. Drew Necker is a great guy, an experienced security professional. He's going to handle himself really well.
And I assume he doesn't really know what's coming.
He has just
Rough
like
idea.
a real witness.
That's right.
They know what's coming.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a great little presentation, and then I expect that the discussion involved in the audience is going to be really good.
Yeah, that sounds like. I wish I could go, but
I wish you could go
I'm
too,
trapped
Chuck.
on the stage, unfortunately. That's the way it happens in our business. Now, I don't want to put you on the spot, but do you remember the room or where we're
Yeah,
going?
it's in S404
Okay.
at 2:15, and should be quite an event. We're looking forward to it.
Fantastic, Paul. Always good to talk to you.
Chuck, have a great day.
Thanks, my friend. Back in a minute here at GSX 2019 Chicago, live with Chuck Carroll at SecurityGuideTV.com and ASISTV.org. We'll be right back.